do our followers just like assume that they can maybe get married to us someday?
Yes, that's exactly what they're saying. You're relatable, you can talk sports with them, you can drink hot chocolate, and they assume you're going to run into them one day and hit it off. And there you go. Happily ever after together.
I will say this though, like to those people that, and they're the minority for sure. Like you can't hate on love. You know what I mean? Like you should love. Like if you're hating on someone being happy, like there's definitely an issue there, I think.
Hey guys, welcome on into Drinks with Binks. I'm Julie Stewart-Binks, and I am currently sitting in my second bout of quarantine. I do not have COVID that I know of right now, but I've crossed the border. I'm in Toronto, and so it is a mandatory 2-week quarantine, which is very good. I can't do anything, which is also very good, because who knows what I might have picked up on the plane. That sounds really very odd, but we're all staying home to stay safe. We're all following the procedures, protocols that we have to make sure that we get rid of this virus, because we want to be able to live life again, see our friends and family, and make sure that they stay safe. So this is Club Q, Club Quarantine, Club Q.2, Club Q-Miss. I created all of this like Elf. That's what I've been doing in my spare time. But I'm so happy now to be able to talk to people, and these people are my friends, on the show here today from NHL Network and MLB Network, and also from the hit show What? We've got Jackie Redmond and Lauren Gardner. Guys, thanks so much for joining us here today. I'll start with you, Jackie. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I got to be honest. I watch all of your Instagram stories, big fan. And I'm jealous of Club Q. Like this is a place that I think I would enjoy a little bit, maybe not 14 days, but you've got the decor set up. You're rocking a sweet jacket. Like you've got it going on. You've got the quarantine thing figured out much better than I did when I had to quarantine. So kudos to you.
I'm thriving in quarantine. Things have been going really well for me these days. And Lauren, you're joining us from Colorado, right?
Yes, I went through everything. My family tested before I came home for American Thanksgiving, looking out for my Canadian brethren. So just hanging out with the Gardners before I head back to NYC to quarantine. So my Club Q won't look nearly as cool as yours, but I'll do my best. You guys are so festive. I just have my dad's trophies behind me. But yeah, Colorado.
What did your dad do, by the way, speaking of his trophies?
He just collected trophies. He actually sold planes.
Oh, he sold planes?
So, yeah. Wow. He collected hardware for selling planes, guys. It's amazing.
Very interesting career. We were wondering about the planes behind there. Not a pilot, but collects hardware for planes. Even better than that.
He's also a pilot.
Oh, he's also a pilot. Okay, great. Yeah.
Winner. In the middle of a pandemic, if you really want to socially distance, you get up about 2,200 feet above ground level.
Yes, I noticed on your Instagram you have been flying a lot. And Jackie is in Nova Scotia. That is in Canada, guys. That's like very far east in Canada. And so we all live in New York City normally, and we work there, but we're all over the world at this point right now because everything is different. And for you guys, you're both in different NHL, MLB bubbles, which we're going to get to a little bit later on in the show. But first, as this is Drinks with Binks, we like to drink on this show, and today we are having a non-alcoholic beverage. What do you guys got?
I have hot chocolate in my lovely hockey mug that my mother purchased for myself and for my co-host, actually, EJ Raddick. She sent one for him too. And this is my daily dose of hockey right now. It's just drinking coffee or hot chocolate out of this mug. It's all I got, but I haven't had hot chocolate in a while. I forgot how good it is.
Dude, it's delicious. Okay, don't make fun of me, but I'm going vegan eggnog, ladies. I tried going plant-based for like 2 weeks at a time. And then when I fall off the wagon, it's like I just fall on my face and I eat all the pizza and all the animal products. So this is me getting back on the wagon with my Super Bowl mug with John Elway on it.
I love that. This is whoever owns this Airbnb's mug right now. And it is hot chocolate as well. And I also haven't had a whole lot of hot chocolate recently. But guys, let's cheers. We will. What shall we toast
Cheers.
to?
That's a good one. Hashtag what reunion? To our health,
fitness, to a very merry holiday, Christmas, whatever you celebrate, and also to 2020 ending very soon.
Right. Jackie had a laundry list of things to toast to. Cheers. Good to see you guys.
Oh, mine's Tim Hortons hot chocolate too.
Same, yeah.
JSB.
Oh yeah, of course. And the 3 massive marshmallows have disintegrated in this, and a candy cane. All are now in this hot chocolate, which I'm not sure is a very good thing, and that's not part of the fitness. But it's all about moderation. We have to address the fact that Jackie has now, we all know it's big news. Jackie got engaged during a pandemic because you've literally lived 1,000 lives in 2020. You put out the video. I gotta ask, how many followers have you lost now?
Oh, it's in the hundreds. It's in the hundreds. I actually specifically was like, maybe don't look at your followers for a few days. But yeah, definitely took a dip. I think I lost about 400, maybe 500. It's a weird phenomenon. I'm sure, like, even before, like just posting anything with Emmett, it's like there's people that are like, love this stuff, love the videos, and then other people that are just like, we don't care about him, like stop posting. And I was like, well, it's my page, so I'll just post whatever I want.
Yes.
But yeah, it's weird. It's very strange, but I am very happy. I'll show you guys the ring.
Ooh, nice. Beautiful. It's people do get really weirded out about posting a significant other, like the other people. Like most of my friends have gotten engaged, especially in broadcasting. It's like they lose a ton of followers, which is also really odd.
Yeah.
Like, do our followers just like assume that they can maybe get married to us someday?
Yes, that's exactly what they're saying. You're relatable. You can talk sports with them. You can drink hot chocolate, and they assume you're going to run into them one day and hit it off. And there you go. Happily ever after together.
I will say this though, like to those people that, and they're the minority for sure. Like, you can't hate on love. You know what I mean? Like you should love. Like if you're hating on someone being happy, like there's definitely an issue there, I think.
Yeah, and that's just not even to like random creepers out there. That's to like everyone who's sad about engagement season or anything like that. But I think it is interesting when you guys talk about like when you post stuff, it's like, is this lame or is this just like the game that I have to play? Just trying to like, that's like, you know, like, it's lame I'm posting this photo of myself for this. Do I feel lame or is this the game? That's actually a new show I'm working on right now.
I'm into the game. What a title.
I know. I want to punch myself in the face when I posted myself in a Santa hat and a workout outfit. And I was like, I literally have to kick my own ass right now.
Dude, that's so fire.
Thanks, guys.
I loved it.
Thank you.
For you, they want to see you and really every facet of your life. And Jackie, that's the same thing. Your personal life is obviously a big part of who you are.
Yes, too much of it actually, but yes, Lauren, though, I mean, Jackie and I are pretty much out there with everything, but you're the mysterious one of the group.
Yes, I am, ladies. Well, I'm probably painfully single at this point. Quarantine hasn't been great for dating. So I'm honestly really happy, though, when you get those people, though, that approach you and like, oh, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, guys, like, I'm great. I really have been, I'm going to get real, like, existential with you guys, but trying to, like, free myself from any sort of external validation. So I'm just really happy as is. I get, you know, my meditation on every morning and do my thing, and I'm just happy. But yeah.
Wow. I could take a lot of notes from that. External validation is like my middle name right now. But how have you, okay, we have to take a quick time out, but I do want to know how you've been able to sort of figure that out, considering our whole job is external validation. More on the other side with MLB and NHL networks, Jackie Redmond and Lauren Gardner on Drinks with Binks. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, I'm Adnan Burke, and I celebrate the Dodgers winning the World Series with Canada's finest export since Michael J. Fox. That's right, my girl, Julie Stewart-Binks. JSB, yeah!
Welcome back to Drinks with Binks. I'm JSB. We've got Jackie Redmond and Lauren Gardner from NHL and MLB Network. We are drinking some hot chocolate and some vegan eggnog. Yikes. But that is, I guess, good for you as well.
Delicious.
Eggnog, I don't think is very good for you, but also delicious. Lauren, right before the break, you were talking about how you've learned sort of during this time to not need external validation to be happy. What was sort of the catalyst to being able to get to this point?
That's such a good question. I feel like we're getting our Oprah on right now. And coincidentally, that's kind of the person who helped turn the corner for me. And it was at the end of 2018. And I think I was in an interesting place. And I think obviously it's just the nature of what we do. You are relying on that external validation and the way we've been raised. And obviously it's not a knock on our parents, but we live in the material world, as Madonna would say. And wow, that just aged me. What a reference. But I think it was a lot of things where I was like, okay, I have, a dream job. I was covering the Avalanche, NFL football, doing all these things, traveling around, on a charter jet and doing all these great things. I had friends, I had all this stuff, but there was something that felt like it was missing. And I started listening to her Super Soul podcast and then turning to all these various books. And I think I've told you guys about that book, The Untethered Soul. But long story short, I think the goal was then to try and separate myself from that anything that was really external. And I know they can provide joy, but really we are these spiritual beings having this human experience, and to kind of sit back and be more of the observer and try and sit in that witness that is your soul and see kind of the narrative that is taking place in front of you. And I know that feels really deep, but through like meditation and like a lot of, readings of whether it was Michael Singer or listening to Oprah and all these like great thought leaders that she speaks with, or even Ram Dass and Polishing the Mirror, which I read every morning. And it's like, it's, biblical. It's that spiritual practice has helped a lot. And that said, life has been very good to me. So I think you really know, the strength of your soul and your conviction when you're really put to the test. And I've definitely been through things, but really finding comfort in the discomfort as well, because that's where the true growth comes from.
That is
so
very cerebral. And for our followers, and perhaps even me, just for instance, like how would you then put that in very layman's terms of how you figured out or where your journey is now? Or
yeah, don't sweat the small stuff. Just be present in the moment, as present as you can be, and just find joy. And oh God, this word is so cliche now, especially in the middle of this pandemic, but gratitude. So we don't know how much time we have here or what's going to happen or how long we'll be employed in these glamorous jobs, but just to enjoy it all and just to be kind, because I think that just provides.
You're such a nice, bright light, Lauren. You're always the good one out of all of us. That's not saying that Jackie isn't, but I mean, but like, I always feel like Lauren is like we all have we're like, what is it? I said Josie and the Pussycat Dolls before, because we all have different hair color. But I always find, Lauren, you post a lot on Instagram with all the different acts of kindness that you have, and sort of the nature of looking into yourself, not, as you mentioned, looking for other people to sort of define who you are and what your journey is. And Jackie, you were talking to us during the break. Instagram, social media is such a unique place for all of us. I know I felt mentally and physically upset sometimes if I look at a post and it makes me feel bad about myself, or like feeling I have to post something to like prove something to somebody. What's that experience been like for you in terms of how you handle your social media presence?
I will say this, I'm so glad, I'm going to date myself here, but like that I didn't have Instagram when I was in school or high school, because I just think I have trouble dealing with it now. Like you just said, like I have days now where like I'll be scrolling the gram and like for all of a sudden it's like I don't feel so great about myself. And I'm like, why? Is it because I'm looking at all these people's like brightest and best moments? And now I'm like, oh, like I like don't remember what I had for breakfast and I'm still in sweatpants and it's 2, like, what's wrong with me? Like I need to be doing something. But this conversation sort of started with, posting the engagement on Instagram and losing followers. And I will admit begrudgingly that I used to care a lot about that. Like I used to hide a lot of my life, my friends, my family, and my relationships, to be truthful. Like I just wouldn't post them because I felt like my Instagram had to be all about my career and all about what my followers wanted. And while yes, that is important, I think there's a difference between privacy and hiding your life. And I think I woke up one day and I was like, wait a second, like, do I want to wake up 20 years from now and feel like I hid my whole life, or just kept it to myself, or didn't celebrate things that were important to me or were happy moments? Like most people post their engagement somewhere because they're excited, like, oh, we got engaged, this is so great. So for me, it was just about, getting over that. But I still, when I see the followers drop or something happen, of course, I'm still like, no, but then I'm like,
I know.
on your deathbed, you're not going to be thinking about the 400 people that unfollowed you when you posted something about Emmett. So, you have to get over it. But I do think that it's one thing that is a constant sort of check yourself thing with what we do is like, okay, am I posting this because I want to, or am I posting this because I am seeking some sort of validation, whether it's look how great I'm doing, or look how good I look, or look at, why am I posting this? What is the reason? And I think that asking myself that has helped me kind of navigate the craziness of social media, because I think you could be, the most self-aware, complete, whole, happy person. And I still think that social media can at sometimes play tricks with you and your mind and your happiness. So definitely one of the tougher things I think in this business that I never knew I was going to have to deal with when I was in college. So it's crazy.
I think everyone at every level would feel that way too. As you mentioned, the most self-aware, sort of like confident 100%. Person, Instagram is just like shows everyone's best moments. Like, we don't all have very good moments all the time. We have maybe a good moment every now and again, not every day, with people posting different stuff. Speaking of which, I would love if my boyfriend came on my Instagram. He never, ever lets me Instagram any of the great bits that go on in our house. But that is also like a way that, beforehand you'd be like, oh, you can't put up your personal life. Like, what's your employer going to think? Well, sometimes now employers are like, they want to see personality, but then you're like, what is too much personality? Is this not enough personality? Is this the personality they want? Like, then it messes with your head in like a different way. Yeah. So I believe where Lauren is right now, I'm going to go down your spiritual journey, and that's not going to happen in Club Q because we've got a lot of content that has to be put out. We have a content making machine. But speaking of content making machines, both of you guys were making so much content in the NHL and MLB bubbles respectively, and I cannot wait to hear how your experiences were different or similar when we come back after this break on Drinks with Binks with Jackie Redmond and Lauren Gardner. Don't go anywhere.
Hey everybody, it's Alex Flanagan. I had Drinks with Binks. Kind of. Does coffee count? I'm hoping maybe she'll invite me back for an evening episode so we can crack a bottle of wine next time.
Hey guys, welcome on back to Drinks with Binks. I'm JSB. I've got Jackie Redmond and Lauren Gardner here from NHL MLB Network. We're sipping on some hot chocolate and vegan eggnog. It is great. This means that we will not have any hangovers at all, and we can talk about things, and I can't blame the fact that I'm not speaking properly on alcohol sadly today. So on that note, speaking properly, something both of these women do very well. Lauren, let's start with you. You were in the MLB bubble. You're with the Dodgers, I remember, near the end. Tell me, what was that experience like? Like, maybe if there's a memory or a moment that like really has stuck out with you from all that.
Yeah, that's a great question. My experience was really similar to Jackie's, and the fact that we really didn't have direct access to any of the teams that we were covering. So our access was limited to speaking properly, I'm drinking vegan non-alcoholic eggnog. Was limited to these Zoom press conferences. So all the media really had access to the same exact storylines, which kind of took, that unique perspective away. But I guess some of the moments that really stood out were just being inside the ballpark without fans, and, credit to the folks, with the LA Dodgers and what they were able to do with their sound system, Hollywood. The crowd noise that they piped in sounded pretty darn realistic, there were just so many different things, but I think it was just watching playoff baseball without fans in the stands, period, all stop. And, and wearing our masks while we were reporting outside. And it was difficult to speak and to breathe, and your cadence was affected. But at the end of the day, I was just so thankful to be working and to be covering the sport that I love.
Right. And Jackie, for you, you were in the NHL bubble for over 60 days. What was the experience like? Basically the same thing. How would you, hearing what Lauren just said, how does that compare to what you've been through?
What I will say is I was fortunate that I had to wear a mask at all times, except when I was on camera, I was allowed to take it off. I'm not sure, Lauren, what it was like for you, but like they had us all very, very separated. So like there was not like a reporter in sight where our setup was. So I wasn't really close to anybody or breaking any social distancing that way when I was on camera. But I will say, I think it's going to be very, very, very strange the first time I attend a sporting event where it's normal and the arena's packed, because I spent 2 months in an empty arena. And what was interesting to me was that in the concourse,
yes.
thank you. Thank you, Lauren. Like the lights were dimmed. So you would get to the arena and it wasn't even like really that well lit. So it was like kind of like a little bit dark. And then you're going out into the arena and you're watching these games. You're one of the only people there. I got to see a couple of really, really historic moments. So it was amazing in that sense. And I learned a ton because I'm not normally a field reporter. It's just not my background. I've been in studio for like 90% of my career, but I also found it like very isolating. Like I don't want to be negative because it was a wonderful experience, but even during the games, like I wasn't sitting with the camera guy that I was working with, or Mike Johnson when he joined later for the final. Like I was alone a lot. Like I was in my hotel room watching press conferences. I was at an arena alone watching games. And so you would see people during intermissions and stuff, but it was very strange that way. And for me, like, I don't have a Rolodex of contacts, you know, contrary to popular belief in the NHL. I have some, but nowhere close to people that cover the game on site on a daily basis and deal with these teams. So I found it challenging, but very, very rewarding in a way at the end. So it was a grind. It was awesome, but it was lonely. But it was so many layers. Like to even describe it to someone is, I find, so difficult. But it was cool. I saw one of the longest games in NHL history. There was like 10 of us there. So it was pretty crazy. It was wild.
I'm sure it's just like there's so many different experiences packed into having to answer that question that it would be great for your book someday. Not the novel that you plan on writing. I remember you told me that last year. But I do like the fact that you were isolated from everyone else as a big, you know, COVID regulation narc over here. I was mostly just figuring that out. Just wanted to see if you're, you know.
Following the rules. Don't worry, JSB. We were very, very strict. I will say though,
that's
like,
what this.
So many people like, well, you're so lucky. And I am very fortunate, but like 60 days in a hotel is a lot of days. So when players make comments about the bubble, or there's like words that like, oh, the players don't want to do a bubble again. Like I actually get it. It's really hard. Even if you are making millions of dollars and playing a game for a living, like there are aspects to it that are mentally, we just talked about mental health a little bit earlier in the show, like that are really difficult, and money does not ease those things. So I just think when people have that, they should maybe think about it a little bit more.
Right. Yes. That it's completely, it's something we've never had to deal with before, and nor, you know, should we, but we obviously have to. But in that regard, both of you explained situations you'd never been in before, of course. Lauren, what's a skill that you had to develop or learn to be able to do what you did during the bubble?
Ooh, that's a wonderful question. I also Corona police, which is good. We need the COVID police. We did test before each week, so just wanted to throw that one in there as well. We wore our masks and we were socially distancing. I'm also just buying time.
I feel like I'm like your mom. Like, it's okay. I believe you guys. Don't worry.
When I'm texting with you, I'm like, don't worry, DSB, I'm in Denver, but I tested before I left. My whole family tested.
Okay, good.
She's like, thanks for the info. Appreciate it. A skill that I cultivated, I mean, I think it really was, and Jack, you can attest to this, but kind of the hustle of it all in the long days. I mean, I was only covering 2 teams at a time, whether it was the division series or it was the NLDS. I think it's time management and just really, I liked being able to think on my feet and to come up with various storylines, as well as just, this is so many different answers to this question, but to really trust myself. because, there weren't a ton of resources and you were just out there on your own. And it's not like you were able to talk to other reporters who, were drafting their stories. So it was really fun to be able to finally trust myself and realize that these stories were the ones that needed to be told, and kind of stick to your gut and kind of go with that, whether it was, the shadows during the A's Astros series, or kind of going, along the lines of seeing what was happening with Dusty Baker and that narrative with his club, and, kind of that story, the redemption arc that Houston was kind of following throughout the postseason and the regular season. So it was really fun, just kind of staying true to who I was and trusting my gut with the stories that I was able to pursue.
And Jackie, for you, what did you find that you had to sort of pick up?
I would say, kind of on the note of what Lauren is saying, is you guys know this business is so crazy. It's highs, it's lows, it's confidence, it's insecurity. It's pick a day and it's what's going on. Your answer will be different to how you feel. And I think what I learned through the process was getting comfortable being uncomfortable, which is something Barry Trotz, the head coach of the Islanders, said over and over and over. We just got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. That's what we need to do. And I think that just applies to 2020 in every way imaginable. Is just everyone is uncomfortable right now. But for me, doing somewhat of a new role that I'm not really used to, and not having the resources that I would normally have doing that role, I think that I just realized I am capable of more than I give myself credit for. And I know I'm sort of complimenting myself right now, but when you work in this business, there are times where you're not sure if you're very good or if you're capable of something. And so when you tackle something that you're not sure how you're going to do, and then you do it and you come out on the other side and you're like, wow, that was crazy. That was however many games in 61 days and hundreds of reports, tons of NHL nows. I was just doing so much that when I came out the other side of it, I was like, you're all right at this. You should give yourself a little bit more credit for what you do, So that was, I think, the biggest thing for me personally to take away from it, was just to have a little bit more confidence in myself with some of that stuff. But also just people think that I'm super outgoing because of what I do, but I'm actually quite shy. So, approaching people for interviews, or even the contacts that I do have, reaching out to people and asking for favors or quotes or interviews even, I am very I don't want them to think I'm annoying. I am super shy when it comes to that. But in that situation, I, forced myself out of that shell and got uncomfortable and reached out to people, asked people for help. And I'm not even just talking about getting interviews or trying to get a quote from a coach or something, even just other media people asking for help. So for me, I think that's a skill that I got better at in that situation, was not being afraid to ask people for help or for interviews or for, whatever I might need to do my actual job,
You mentioned that you hadn't done a whole lot of field work, not only doing field work and feeling confident in that, but then doing it in a pandemic where you can't just sit with people at morning skate and be like, oh, I heard, what about this guy? And why is this line changed? Where you can just sort of pick up information when you're talking with people. You can't even do that. You're not even able to talk. You can't even be around anyone else. Don't go anywhere. We got Jackie and Lauren here, NHL and MLB Network. We're on Drinks with Binks, baby.
Hey, I'm Anson Carter, and I'm having drinks with Binks.
Hey guys, welcome back to Drinks with Binks. I'm JSB. We've got Jackie, Redmond, Lauren Gardner here from NHL and MLB Network. And the most imminent story that we have right now really is we're all trying to figure out what our future looks like. I'm in quarantine again. It's December. I was in quarantine. Because I'm in Canada, not because I have COVID again or something. But that I was in it in July. Not a lot has changed. Things are sometimes getting worse around the country, around the world. We don't know when we're going to see hockey again. And this is just a big topic for the sport and for all sports. And we're seeing every sport struggle with the pandemic. Jack, I'll start with you because you are sort of the most inundated in the NHL. How do you even, what's going on? How do you look at when the next season's going to begin? And I know you work for the league, so I understand you have a league perspective, but for fans and for other broadcasters, what's going to happen?
I will say, normally when the world is not, under crisis. And there's a story in the NHL or something's going on and people want to know. And you're like, oh, I don't really know, but you kind of like know. Like we actually don't know. Like that's the thing. Like I actually don't know what to expect or when the season's going to start. So, when I see some of the insiders saying the same thing on social media, I'm like, no, I think they're actually being legit. Like just because COVID is such a fluctuating thing and it's changing day to day based on where you are. I mean, 2 weeks ago here in Nova Scotia, things were pretty normal. Everything was open. Now we're in lockdown again. Certain areas of the province, like gyms are closed. You can't go anywhere. Restaurants are takeout only, all that stuff. So for me, it's like, I really don't know. But I think what's interesting to me about it is that it will be a season like no other. I mean, we're in December right now. I mean, absolute best case scenario, the season starts January 1st. I mean, to me, I can't foresee that happening, but crazier things have happened. I just think if we have this all Canadian division and everything's different, it's going to be a season like we've never seen before. And it's going to be exciting in that way, is that it's going to be different. All the Canadian teams playing each other, different divisional teams in the US constantly playing each other. So I think we'll see rivalries renewed. That's like my big hope, is that, Leafs Habs is going to be a crazy thing this year. Like they're going to hate each other. But in terms of knowing what to expect, I mean, I am similar to the fans. Like that's just the truth. I don't really know. I don't know when I will be hosting NHL Now again. I just know that when the season starts, whenever that is, I will be hosting it. And I'm very thankful for that. Because I know there are a lot of people out there that have been laid off and are dealing with a lot financially. So for me, like I'm just sitting and waiting, I'm just sort of waiting to see what's going to be next and when that's going to be. So I'm just like a fan right now. I'm searching on Twitter too, like, ooh, what's LeBron saying? I'm like looking it up,
Yeah, really. Just have like LeBron on refresh. And I want to get back to that in a second, sort of waiting on your jobs and all that. But Lauren, as the American in our group, how do you feel about the all-Canadian division? We're hyped over here. We're like, wow, yeah, we can see all these. But like, what's the perspective as an American of an all-Canadian division?
Yeah, I mean, as an Avs fan, formerly the Nordiques, you guys might be stealing some of the shine. I don't know how I feel about this. But, the Central Division is going to be as tough as ever, hopefully, but it would be, I mean, you're taking a couple of teams away. As much as I love Winnipeg, I mean, I'm not mad about not having to go back up there if I were covering the Avs.
Yeah.
No knock on Winnipeg. I actually love that city. The people from Winnipeg are tremendous. I think it's interesting. It feels like you guys might be stealing a little bit of shine, but I think from a logistics perspective, it makes complete sense. And if that's how we can get back underway as soon as possible and as safely as possible, more importantly, then I'm all for it. But I think it will be interesting. And Jack, to your point, I love the fact that these old rivalries will be renewed. And that's what we love about sports, right? We love the unscripted drama of it all and just the passion. And sometimes that, it's manufactured in a sense, but it's that hatred for one another in a very, sportsmanlike way.
Great. Okay. So all of America will be watching Canada is sort of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Also the Avs, they are very good. We'll be watching them as well.
Yeah, the Avs
I want to track back and for both of you.
So good.
I mean, I've been doing this show from God knows everywhere across this continent, lugging everything with me through TSA and whatnot. But for you guys, like your job is attached to these sports, and Jackie, you're mentioning, it's kind of precarious, like not knowing when you're going to work next. How do you sort of deal with that?
For me, I feel like I've lived, I think you said this earlier in the show, like I feel like I've lived so many different chapters through the last 7-8 months. Like I feel like I've done so many different things. It's like my life has been divided into chunks. Like the first little bit, I was still doing my show, but from home. Then I had this weird little 1 month summer. And then I had the playoffs for 2 months, which was like, just go, go, go. And then I came home and I was like, now what do I do? Like what's happening now? And I dove into my fitness. Like I just found things that I've always wanted to spend time on and work on, prior to the pandemic that I didn't have time for, or at least I told myself I didn't have time for. And I just sort of dove headfirst into those things. So fitness was a big one for me. It's like, well, I have all the time now to work out. So if I'm not going to do it now, then I'm probably never going to do it. But it's weird, it's like a constant state of limbo, not knowing okay, what's next? When am I working again? When am I hosting a show? Can I still host a show? I haven't done it in a while. Not really sure. Hopefully, like, I still got
you
it.
Jackie.
But
look
like,
at what you did during the
I will say though, like, it's just crazy. But for me, it's just about finding ways to use the time for myself, because when are we ever going to, when am I ever going to have time like this to myself where I'm at home, but I'm like, I'm still getting paid. So it's like, I am a very fortunate person, and I realize that. Yeah. It's like at some point, like, this will go away and I will be, working again. So I'm just trying to make the most of it and enjoy it for what it is. So that's kind of where I'm at, but it is hard. I won't lie.
And you, Lauren, I mean, you've been able to do hot stove with MLB. I know you told me that you were getting tested like 2 times a day or something like that. Like, you've been going in and out as well. What's this time been like for you in a way that, like, you don't necessarily have a set schedule because of sports, but you are still working?
Yeah, and I think that's it right there, is that I'm still employed. We're still employed, and kudos to, MLB and NHL as leagues as a whole, and obviously their respective networks for taking such good care of their employees through this time and doing the best they could to make sure, we were still getting paid. We still had our health insurance, which is more important now than ever, while, people all around the globe are unemployed or losing their jobs or without health insurance or health care. So first and foremost, I'm so grateful for that. But yeah, the schedule's all over the place. Just like Jack, it was kind of coming back and like, do I know how to do this TV thing again? It's been a minute. And, whether I was hosting Strike Zone or, NHL Tonight's having this one on, who absolutely, demolished her playoff coverage and return to play coverage. So kind of bouncing back and forth between sports, but being so pumped to do it, hosting Strike Zone in a voiceover booth and making the adjustments when it comes to COVID protocols and just kind of figuring out ways to stay afloat. So, whenever there was something offered, it's like, hey, can you cover opening day in Philadelphia? And I am fortunate enough I live alone, and we talked about me being painfully single, which I'm okay with. But I don't have anyone
follow her.
That's what I'm going to reply now. Every time someone's like, unfollowed, I'm going to be like, go follow Lauren. She's single. Maybe you have a chance.
You can come meditate with me, guys. It's very boring and drink vegan eggnog.
I love it.
Am I selling this? But yeah, it was an adventure. And yeah, you're right. We're assigned to, new shifts, which Jackie is very familiar with. And again, we're inside the building. If anything breaks, we're ready to go. It's also a really good time to, just kind of get up to speed on things, pay your bills and shop on Amazon. But if there is breaking news, you're there for it. And then Hot Stove has been such a fun show to work on, and just whatever they need, I'm literally like, I'm here, I'm ready, I'm able-bodied, and please let me keep my job at this point. But it's fun, and it's great to be able to stay up to speed with whatever is happening or isn't happening in, the respective off seasons for these two sports.
I do have a question though. Lauren, is my car still in the parking lot at MLB Network? I've been there for like 9 months. I literally am just like, hope it's okay. Like, I don't know.
Wow, you had no idea where your car was. You had no idea if it was okay?
I think it's there. EJ sent me a picture at one point. It's in the parking lot somewhere.
Oh,
that's great. You've had free parking for 9 months. That's like quite literally $9,000 in New York.
That's so true.
I'm going to go to Secaucus and park a car whenever I can get one someday. Just leave it there. But yes. Okay. Well, that's good. So we don't have confirmation on the car, but we'll get it from EJ again. Okay. We'll get back on that.
Around December 15th. I'll keep you guys updated.
Okay. Well, it is great to hear that both of you guys have been able to keep working, keep your jobs. I know that many people have been furloughed or laid off or, everything. It's been very difficult, but we will also have to see now how the NBA does with sort of doing everything indoors and starting off with maybe having fans. I'm very curious about that. As Jackie, our Tampa Bay Raptors are going to be, down there in the COVID capital of the world. Okay, we got to wrap. We'll come back after this with some more fun stuff, some fun questions from the audience for Jackie and Lauren. You don't want to go anywhere. This is Drinks with Binks.
What's good, everybody? This is Jerome Baker, Miami Dolphins linebacker. I spent my bye week with Drink with Binks. It was water, but you never know. You never know what was in it, but let's just say it was water.
Welcome back to Drinks with Binks with me, JSB, and Jackie Redmond, Lauren Gardner, NHL MLB Network. I said that I was like surprised I'm still here. I asked people on Instagram to send in questions. I'd never done this before, and I was like, I guess no one sent in any questions for these guys. So weird. But then I found out they did, and here they are now. So Chowza asks, Lauren and Jackie, what is your favorite NHL arena and city to visit and why? I'll start with you, Jackie.
Ooh, such a good question. There's a few that I've never been to that are iconic. Like I've never been to the Bell Center in Montreal. So before I answer, I just want to preface with that so that people aren't like, oh, could you not pick that? I'm going to go with Chicago. I love the city of Chicago. A game in that arena is unlike a lot of experiences that I've had in my life. The fan base is amazing. When I went to games there, the team was very good. I know that impacts the experience, but I loved it there. And it's a great city. So I think it's like the best of both worlds. Great place to watch a game, great place to eat some food. So I like Chicago.
Lauren?
Yes, Miracle Mile. Okay, so I'll go full circle for you. Montreal is such a special city. The fact that they can seamlessly transition from French to English and back, and then I feel like a really stupid American when I'm trying to order my coffee. But that's okay. It's very humbling. Yeah, but that arena, just the nostalgia, the history, I mean, everything from the concourse, and you see these old paintings on the walls, and it literally is like a living museum. And then down to, the Montreal dressing room, and you have three different media representatives with, you have your English broadcast, you have your French broadcast. It's so cool. It is
Shout out
awesome. It is so fun. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
We love you, man.
He's great. He's a good guy. I also love the Bell Center as well. We got to go on. We only have time for one more. But Tweak 37 says, what was the funniest thing to happen when filming a live segment, Jackie?
Oh my gosh. Funniest thing to happen while filming a live segment. I don't know.
Lauren, what about you?
Yeah, so we actually did a relay race on ice, and my team captain was Mark Rycroft, and my opposition was John Michael Lyles, and I'm not a good skater unlike the two of you. And I was at center ice, and John Michael Lyles shot me with a t-shirt can and took me out in front of the live audience, both on television and at the Pepsi Fair. It was great.
I've seen it. I've seen the footage.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I have one. I thought of one.
Okay, very quickly.
I ran behind home plate when the game had already started. I was in St. Louis, I believe. I ran behind home plate. Marcus Stroman was like getting ready to throw a pitch. I didn't realize it. I thought I had time. I did not have time. Everyone in the dugout yelled at me as I went back, friendly yelling, but still. And Bob Costas play-by-played it. He was like, and there goes Jackie behind home plate.
That's awesome.
Yes. I mean,
there you go. People remember that and remember you from that. That's good. That's very good. I'm sure your bosses didn't say that, but we got to go to break. I think mine, I had so many when I lived in Regina, just like the cameras randomly floating around because we had sandbags that held them, and losing my marbles on air and laughing and crying while I was laughing. We got to go to break, but we'll definitely have a whole segment of weird things that have happened on air in another episode of something in the future. But we've got more of this thing coming up after the break. That's a tease. Wow.
Hey, this is John Cooper, head coach of your Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning, and I just had Drinks with Binks.
All right, welcome on back. We've got a whole lot more fun we want to have with Jackie and Lauren before we say goodbye. And this game is called What's more likely to happen in 2021? Okay, beginning with Tampa Bay Lightning repeat as Stanley Cup champions, or full capacity indoor dining is allowed. Lauren.
Ooh.
Oh God, at this point, I'm going with the Lightning repeating.
Ooh, I'm going to go with full capacity dining because back-to-back champions in the NHL are very rare.
Wow. Okay.
Like
They're very rare. So is indoor dining at this point. Okay, Francisco Lindor is traded from the Indians, or the new James Bond movie ends up being bad.
Lindor goes to the Mets. Steve Cohen is winning the offseason, aka Bobby Axelrod.
New James Bond movie is going to be bad.
It's not. I looked at the trailer. It looks like it's going to be quite good. So Lindor, I guess, is being traded.
I'm going against everything Lauren says.
This is like a debate show. This is so good.
I love it. Okay, debate number 2. Zdeno Chara plays his last game for the Bruins, or Broadway reopens.
Broadway is slowly reopening summer of 2021.
That doesn't sound very confident to me.
I'm hopeful.
I'll go Chara.
Really painted you into a corner on that one, Jack.
I don't feel great. I don't feel great about it.
I would say more likely Chara's done versus seeing everyone sitting and watching Cats. Sorry, that's a bad example. Everyone indoors sitting watching Pretty Woman. Okay.
Yeah,
that one.
It's gonna be tough. All right, last one. This one's a good one for me and Jack. The Leafs win a playoff series, or Coachella is held maskless.
Oh, Jack, you're gonna hate me.
Leafs win a playoff series.
I gotta go with you on that
Leafs
one.
win a playoff series. Yeah.
Yes, there's
100%.
only one correct answer for this one. It's the Leafs win a playoff series.
No, that all-Canadian division, baby, is meant for the Leafs. It's built for the Leafs.
It's built for the Leafs. Finally, we figured out a way to build a division for the Leafs, and yeah, there's no way that Coachella would be held
I was gonna
maskless.
say, what's going on here?
Because people also will have like fashion masks at Coachella.
Oh,
Come on,
yeah.
it's going to be crazy town. Okay, we got to go to break, but we want to hear where Jackie and Lauren are going to be next. So stay tuned. We got more Drinks with Binks on the other side.
Hey everybody, I'm Nick Kiprios from Real Kipper at Noon on livemovement.com, and I just had Drinks with Binks, Little Buddha.
All right, guys, we've had an awesome time drinking and binking here with Jackie Redmond and Lauren Gardner. And guys, where can we find you next? Lauren, I'll start with you.
So I will be back in studio after I quarantine and test and do all that around the Christmas holiday. So I will be spending time at Rockefeller Center and on Hot Stove, so you can catch us on MLB Network from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern. And of course, LG Red, like the communist appliance, on social media.
When hockey is back, I will be back. So whenever that happens, you can find me on NHL Network. But in the meantime, please feel free to follow me on Instagram at Jackie Redmond, on Twitter at Jackie_Redmond. And I have a YouTube channel. There's just random stuff on there, but watch it for sure.
The YouTube channel's great. You and your fiance are throwing flour at one another. And I will say, when I watched back both of your interviews from last year, you said you wanted to start your own YouTube channel. And you did. You wanted to be in the YouTube space. So
yes,
you did. Lauren, you didn't accomplish your dream of becoming Oprah, Kelly Ripa, and Michelle Beadle all at once, but you're well on your way. Okay, to being better than that. That's it for us here on Drinks with Binks. You can follow us on at Fubo Sports on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and of course, watch us, fubosportsnetwork.com, every Friday night at 8 p.m. And we will see you next time, guys. Bottoms up, bitches.
Cheers.
No booze in here. Not today.